right, let's get rocking and rolling just so we can get everything in and out in a timely manner for everybody, just the same way that we always do. First things first, I am going to get straight away into sharing my screen just so we can get to the heart of the matter. All right. Whenever it wants to do. There we go. Okay. So August, right now it's the 14th, but really right now, what is the main driver of what's going on right now that we can see in the marketplace? And it's really, despite the fact that my screen is doing crazy things. Anyways, so really what's going on in the marketplace right now as it relates to the first couple of weeks of August, the second half of the year getting underway. Well, you can look at this right now if you want to talk about where people spend their money and how the different industries have been affected. I know we've been talking about jobs, job growth, job loss, people that are permanently affected, people that are temporarily affected, and the sectors of the economy that are coming back in droves, and the ones that may, in fact, experience a very interesting permanent shift in their dynamic, both now and going forward. So what does this graph actually mean? So this is a graph, and it's interesting insofar as that you can look and you can tell that, yes, people are shopping for groceries, cooking at home at a higher rate than they have in several years, but they stopped buying a lot of things. Apparel, healthcare, obviously the restaurant and hotel industry, arts and entertainment, and then transportation too, which obviously includes air travel, ground travel, domestic travel, taxi cabs, Ubers, Lyft, whatever it is that you might use in terms of transportation. That all of it fell off a cliff. You can notice that groceries stayed stable because people really need three things in life, one of which is food, the second of which is shelter, right? That's it. That's the reason why our industry has maintained its level of stability, call it, or at least promise for leading the economy out of what was essentially everybody got told to go stay home. But everybody needed food, everybody needs shelter, everybody needs water. That's it. And I think this is an extremely telling statistic insofar as that you see now, despite what happened and the button being pushed, the eject button being hit, you see all of these industries returning at a fairly requisite level. You know, healthcare, that lumps in a lot of what was deemed elective services or non-essential medical services, none the least of which dentistry, optometry. You had a lot of different industries that are really, quite frankly, essential that we're basically told to stay home from the months, and it's from March through to the middle of May. Almost every single one of these industries was down 30-ish%. And you can see that most of them, with the sole outliers being still transportation, which of course that is completely correlated to the fact that if you get on a bus, there's only so many people that can get on the bus right now. If you get on the train, there's only so many people that can get on the train, the subway. There's only so many people that can get on an airplane right now. There's only so many people that want to do any of those things. And you have a vast majority, I don't really know of any movie theaters that are still operating in any capacity that doesn't include drive-in, if they have that ability. And so that's understandable to note that they're still at a 40-ish, 50%, let's call it, down by half deficit right now. But you see restaurants and hotels coming back. You see healthcare back basically to the baseline, and apparel and general retail back as well, just partly because that's been buffered by online shopping. But you see that food, groceries in particular, food spending is still at an increase above its general baseline level from January. That's a good thing for the economy to note that all of these sectors that have been affected have at least largely returned to some semblance of normalcy, or at least some semblance of a baseline in terms of a recovery. But you note that all of the recovery shapes, every single one of them, looks like a certain letter of the alphabet, a couple from the end, the letter V. That's hopeful. Now, granted, is this going to be for forever? Do we have a second wave? Do we have a relapse? Do we go back into shelter in place? I don't know. I don't think so, and I certainly hope not, because I believe in the power of the American economy for us to continue forward back to whatever new is. I'm not going to say normal, because normal doesn't exist anymore. Normal may have never existed. But this is where we're going right now. We're heading back towards the right direction. We're heading in the right direction, but we're heading back towards at least the baseline in a vast majority of the industries that have been extremely hard hit: retail, healthcare, and the hospitality, tourism industry, and the food and beverage industry. So one of the things about that, and now granted, there's a lot of change that's happened in the world, but one of the most interesting and compelling things from the National Association of Realtors' recent home recovery survey is there's a lot of stuff to share here. There's a couple of very key points. Close to 4 in 10 Americans work remotely as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. I know that we talked about this last week. I want to echo this and double down on it, because when you see that close to 4 in 10 Americans are now working remotely as a result, a glaring majority of that is actually going to become a permanent work at home relationship, because they're no longer going to be required to work at home. And what you can see is that then half of those remote working consumers use a home office. So that means that 4 in 10 work from home, but only 2 in 10 currently have a home office. And a majority of those consumers that are doing so, of that 2 in 10, they created or converted a space, whether it's the end of the kitchen, the dining room table, an extra bedroom, the garage, whatever it might be, to a home office. Yet almost 70% of those folks have converted some space. So we're talking out of 2 of 10 Americans, you've got basically 1.5 of those Americans have changed some room in their house to accommodate work from home. And over half of those people that are employed right now in the United States would prefer to work remotely. And that increased workplace flexibility, whether or not you think that it's a great thing, it's a bad thing, it's an inconvenience, it's this, that, the other, it has a lot to do with the built environment and the desire for people when they are purchasing their next home, the home after that, or if they're looking at a home right now, that is a glaring opportunity for us to be able to help current sellers, current potential sellers and buyers, and people in the marketplace writ large to really focus on, like, hey, listen, the things that we used to say would add value to a home, curb appeal, kitchen, master bathroom, etc., now is shifting to a little more open floor plan, a little more open space, bigger kitchens. And in some instances, they're actually willing to sacrifice, living room space or a den or this, that, or the other for the opportunity to have a dedicated home office and for more outside space. Buyer sentiment surveys are now surrounding towards outside space. it's a key thing for us to understand that that large share of those consumers that are right now in the marketplace, they've been cooped up. Now they're back out. There's most, if not, at least a majority are back to work, at least in some capacity, be it in an office environment or still at home. And now that home office has either bumped to the top of the list, or at least it's in the top 3. And let's pair that with what I just said. Here you go, more interior space, more outdoor space, updated kitchen, better technology. That's what everybody was saying in April when we were about 30-ish days into, oh God, we're cooped up in the house, we want more space. Well, guess what? That hasn't changed much. But now the thing is that now you're seeing that survey of potential buyers from Realtor.com saying, still, the idea is more interior space. The walls are closing in on people, or if not, just at least a more open floor plan. The second reason is interesting because there's a whole lot of people that are in the marketplace. Now, call it a confluence of apartments are generally smaller. People are becoming a little bit more savvy with regard to saving versus paying money. And also the majority of folks in the city environments, the larger major metro areas, are not in a home ownership category. They're now desiring to own their own home because people glaringly are seeing the value of home ownership in terms of not only just personal net worth, but the fact that renting in some cases, is in fact less affordable than owning a home for some people. That all depends, but that's number 2, a desire to own either a first home. We're seeing statistics that millennials, the Gen Z, the Gen Y, the folks that are in that 24 to 28 bracket, now granted, they've been largely affected by the job losses that have happened, but that cohort of people are seeing just exactly how powerful and impactful home ownership is, not only just in the current, but on their life and their quality of life moving forward. And then there's that big desire to move from the city to the suburbs. And again, still looking for more outdoor space. And how you want to look at, purchase applications. So let's dive into these numbers. What does it mean? We've already looked at showings and how showings have recovered and rebounded to, and in fact exceeded pre-COVID levels in terms of showing time data for showings requested. But this is purchase applications, and this is from the National Mortgage Association. You look at in March, we were at a 10-ish% increase year over year, we were at the beginning of March going, this is going to be the year. And then you see the rug pulled out from everyone else, where that largest decrease got to a 38% deduction on purchase applications from a year over year perspective. But since May 20th, you can see there 11 straight weeks of positive year over year increases on purchase applications. Now, what does that really mean? That doesn't just mean that people are showing and looking at homes. This is new purchase applications. This is people buying homes, despite the fact that there is a very, very big inventory shortage in our marketplace. Those folks that are in fact motivated to buy are buying. What does that mean for us? It means that now is the time for us to really double down on our efforts to help find ways to create and generate more inventory in our market. So what does it look like month to date? Average days on market thus far for the month of August in 2020, 49 days on market on average. The median days on market is in fact 17. we're looking into just a historic level of multiple offer situations, bidding wars, escalation clauses, things that a lot of us haven't encountered much, if at all, in our careers. But it's due to the fact that buyer demand, and you can see it and you can show it right there in the statistics from purchase applications year over year, that buyer demand is at an all-time high, but yet they are more discerning and they are doing more homework on the front end, be it on the internet or just taking their time until the right thing comes along, than they have ever been. That average sales price, $296, $512, you're still watching a price increase about 2% month over month. And I assume, and I would assume that while we started a little bit over 300 to begin the month, I'm pretty confident that it's going to back in around 294, 292, somewhere in there, which would then reflect another 2% increase month over month from the month of July. There are 682 new listings in the Greenville MLS as of August 1st, with 949 currently pending. So what you're looking at right now with the general average for Greenville's solds market is somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500 sales per month. That's on an average basis. What we're looking at right now is we're about to get to probably 1,800 sales by the end of this month. We will go outside of what would be the historical norm, which means that our inventory is going to be even more depleted right now, which is telling because our current supply of inventory is roughly 2.3 months. It's about more 2.5, but based on that median number, I'm concerned that there may be, in fact, less inventory than we might be letting on. And again, I'm going to go back to an old piece of data. And this is from about May of this year, but it really tells a big story, right? In the fact that this is for the average economic impact of one home sale state by state. And you look at that and you see that $73,000 of economic impact, be that for a tire shop, a retail store, a furniture store, paint store, guy that cuts grass, the hair salon, whatever that might be, we measure that impact of the amount of money that is pumped into an economy per home sale. I mean, let's look at that. That's almost $750,000. $73,000 for every existing home sold. That's not a new home. The new home sold is a little bit more than that. It's a pretty amazing statistic considering the fact that when you pump up the housing market, you also help the remaining sectors of the economy. And again, I'm going to drive this home. I said this last week that we've really looking at a couple of months before November. November historically in presidential election years, no matter what your politics or your leaning or your implication are in any of those fields, November historically sees somewhere between 10 and 20% reduction in activity. That's what happens every single year. Am I to say that that's going to happen again? No. But it seems as though that the signs point to, from 100 years of data, that yes, more than likely you're not going to see a decline in the strength of the housing market. You're just going to see a decline in activities. People that are willing to buy, willing to sell, sometimes tend to just wait and see and watch that first week in November. So really, right now, what we have is the ability to understand that we've got that coming. November is coming. Hopefully it will, in fact, bring cooler weather with it, and maybe there might even be football involved in it. But just as a result, It's the fact that we know that we've got a short amount of time, a short window to get it together and inject the much needed inventory into this marketplace that will help continue the health and vitality of the housing market, not only now, but going forward into 2021. And what do we need to do in order to do that, to get ready, to get prepared? Well, number one is it's the same exact thing that I've been saying along and along this entire time, is that right now we need to really consult buyers and even consult sellers. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just to say, if they ask you, how's the market? Your response, it's always the same. It's, well, that depends whether or not you're trying to think about buying, selling, investing, or renting. Now, which part of the real estate market are you most interested in hearing how it's doing? Because really what the question they're asking is, what's my home worth? And if they're in a position where they need to buy or sell as a result of either lifestyle or income change, or just the fact that they've been living in a house that's been itching at them for a couple of years, and now they've been around the house a whole lot and they just don't like it anymore. It's time for us to have consultations, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it doesn't matter. Zoom, coffee, outdoor in the parking lot, it doesn't matter. It's time for us to get in front of folks and give them, educate them on what's actually happening and help them get out of the state of unrest or fear or uncertainty and into an action state that can help them move forward and can help us continue to move our industry forward as a result. And the second thing is, right now, it's a really good time. Tell me who hasn't been a part of a multiple offer situation and not had it work out. You missed out on it. You were one of 4, 6, 12, whatever it might be. Well, did they really love that neighborhood? Well, right now is the time to sit down and identify 4 or 5 or 6 properties, do some research on them, write a little card, and talk about how you had recently had an offer rejected for this sweet couple out of, Nashua, New Hampshire, that was trying to relocate here, and they'd been in town for a couple of weeks and found this house and loved it. They loved the neighborhood, but they were up against 4 different offers and it didn't work out. And they would love to have the opportunity to make an offer on the person's house. Send a handwritten card to the neighborhood, to the ideal property, asking to see if they may potentially be interested in selling their home if the right offer came along. You don't have to do 100 of them, do a couple. If not for you, for the clients that you're working with that are frustrated right now. How many of us have frustrated buyer clients? A couple of offer rejection letters or note cards, more specifically, not some pre-printed BS. Something that somebody's not going to open over the trash can when the mail comes, asking for the opportunity to make an offer on their house. See how many good conversations you get out of it. Put your cell phone on there, write it, and hand write it. It doesn't take long. I've got note cards. If you guys want note cards, come here and get some from me. And how you get better at representing our clients? Well, one, it's about studying this data the same way that we're studying the data every single week. It's about skill building for you. Really diving into understanding and learning the numbers in the marketplace, what's actually happening. And even if you want to get really granular, go down to your neighborhood level, pick your neighborhood and do the same in exact weekly update for yourself on a neighborhood that you're trying to work or you're trying to be the mayor of. I say this all the time, if you're not the mayor of your backyard, you're not the mayor of any yard. And how we fix from skill building, you can study all you want to, but really what we need to do is have better conversations and improve the quality of those conversations. Or if you're not having enough of them, Time to take a deep dive and figure out how many conversations actually you are having. Track them. Because if you recall, we got until November 1st, and there's somebody, well, there's two of you that are going to get these. There's a $100 prize for two people for the most listings generated between now and November 1st. November's coming, guys. It's time for us to step up. It has been time for us to step up and do the right thing for the people that we serve in the communities that we serve. Have a great day. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Wish you all the best. Please do not hesitate to call for anything. Take care.